In this episode, we're going to talk about bullying and define that word. Pediatrician Perry Kloss in 2009 said, "The way that we understand bullying has changed, and it's probably going to change even more. But anyone working with children needs to start from the idea that bullying has long-term consequences and that it is preventable." So what is bullying? According to stopbullying.gov, bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated, or it has a potential to be repeated over time. Both kids who are bullied and who bully others may have serious, lasting problems. Bullying includes unprovoked physical or psychological abuse of an individual by one student or a group of students over time to create an ongoing pattern of harassment or abuse. In order to be considered bullying, the behavior must be aggressive and include an imbalance of power. So kids who bully use their power, such as physical strength, access to embarrassing information, or popularity, to control or harm others. Power imbalances can change over time and in different situations, even if they involve the same people. And then repetition. Bullying behaviors happen more than once, or they have the potential to happen more than once. And so when a child gets shoved into a locker by another child in middle school, it may have only happened one time, but if that child passes by the child who shoved them every day, it has the potential to continue to happen, or even the threat of it happening, even if it didn't happen again, is a form of bullying. Sometimes parents have a hard time figuring out why kids do this. And I don't know that all the answers have been, all the questions have been answered about that. But what I have found is when I think about why kids bully, and we can do a whole separate podcast on that topic, is it really is about power and control. And so the formal definition of bullying that has been established by stopbullying.gov, the governmental agency that really is a really good resource for adults and for kids both, or for teachers, parents, adults, and parents, teachers, and kids, that it really fits that same framework of intimate partner violence. There's this dynamic of power and control that happens that involves humiliation, threats, intimidation, using emotional abuse, trying to socially isolate kids, trying to minimize or deny their part. I was only joking, or I was just kidding, or it wasn't that bad, using technology, which we'll spend more time talking about, and sometimes kind of claiming social status, like I can do this to you because I'm in a group that it's okay to do this. And so it really fits some of those same frightening patterns that we see later in adult life with a different kind of problem. There are different types of bullying, and bullying includes actions like making threats and spreading rumors, attacking someone physically, verbally, or excluding someone from a group on purpose. So physical bullying involves hurting a person's body or their possessions. It includes hitting them, kicking them, pinching them, spitting, tripping or pushing, taking or breaking one's things. Some kids might throw someone's backpack into a dumpster, or they might, throw their lunch into the garbage, or they might tip stuff upside down on their lunch tray. Those are examples of physical bullying. Making mean or rude hand gestures, things that physically cause harm to the child or damage their belongings. Verbal bullying is saying or writing mean things, and it includes teasing, and we'll talk more about that in a separate podcast, more like taunting, name calling, inappropriate sexual comments, racial slurs, threatening to cause harm. And then social bullying, sometimes referred to as racial bullying. It involves hurting someone's reputation or the relationship. It includes things like leaving someone out on purpose, or telling other kids not to be friends with someone, or spreading rumors about that person, or trying to embarrass them in public. And sometimes these behaviors can be combinations. So, some kid tripping another kid in public and making them drop their lunch tray, or making them fall on their face in a hallway, is an example of physical bullying, but it is also embarrassing, so it's social bullying. And then there's cyberbullying, and this deserves a whole category and podcast by itself, but we'll mention it here because it really is a growing problem because it has some capabilities the other kinds of bullying don't have. It includes social, verbal, and sometimes the physical bullying through the forms of threat and intimidation. Cyberbullying involves spreading rumors about the victim, tricking kids into revealing personal information, sending and forwarding mean text messages, posting pictures of the victim without their consent, things that are really harmful and can be sent out to many people and can stay for a long time in the internet, online. So cyberbullying is bullying that takes place using digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets, and it can occur through all of the social media platforms, and it is in some places considered unlawful and criminal behavior. Most common places where cyberbullying occurs: social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, other platforms that kids use, can also occur in online forums and chat rooms, message boards, even online gaming communities, or through email. So it's important to recognize that it's pervasive and it is most everywhere where kids go with their technology. Cyberbullying has unique concerns because it can be persistent. Digital devices offer the ability to immediately, continuously communicate 24 hours a day. So it can be difficult for children experiencing cyberbullying to find relief. And it can be permanent. Most information is communicated electronically is permanent in public if it's not reported and removed. So a negative online reputation, including for those who bully, it can really impact things like their college admissions or their employment or other areas of life. And finally, it's hard to notice because teachers and parents may not overhear or see the cyberbullying take place. It can be harder to recognize. I think another challenge that cyberbullying presents is it doesn't give the person engaged in the bullying behavior a feedback loop. And this is what's both frightening and telling. If you're hurting another child's feelings and you see the anguish on their face because you just said something that caused harm, you have an opportunity to stop. You have an opportunity to repair that or to change your own behavior. But when you send that message online, you don't get to see the result. It's kind of like a drone strike. You don't get to see the outcome. You just do your piece, and it goes out to how many other people, including the victim, and it causes the damage, and you have no idea what the reaction was. And so the likelihood of you changing your behavior is really low because you aren't getting any feedback to help you decide, was that a nice thing to say or not a nice thing to say? So for kids who engage in bullying behavior, it can get worse really quickly because they don't have any kind of way of knowing how painful it is. As a parent, what can you do? Well, talk to your child or teenager about cyberbullying, especially if they have a cell phone or use online communication with their friend group. Have clear family guidelines about what kind of information is okay and not okay to share. Kids experience, especially preteens and teens, it's a double-edged sword. If they tell their parents they need help, their parents are going to help, but they may also lose some of their privileges being online. And so kids are often reluctant to be open with their parents about what's going on if they're being targeted or bullied because they don't want to lose that connection to other kids, and they're willing to put up with it, which may not be good for them. Talk about the perils of text fighting or other common problems where people say hurtful things or angry things through social media or technology. If your child or teenager is acting differently, if they're more upset or withdrawn, and if you suspect it may be related to some online activity, talk to your child. Learn more about what's going on in their world. To learn more about bullying, please check out these online resources. StopBullying.gov, TogetherAgainstBullying.org, and Pacer. The links are in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in and considering this parenting topic. I hope this information added to your growing toolbox for parenting your children. Please consider exploring other topics in this series. Remember, no one parenting tool can do everything. We need many tools to become the best parents for our children. Your children's future depends on you and the time and effort you invest in them today.